Worst opening in MCU history. That was the headline splashed across entertainment news on November 12, 2023. Not what anyone expected when Marvel Studios launched The Marvels. And of course, it came as a shock to everyone because this was a sequel to Captain Marvel, one of the highest grossing female-led superhero films of all time.
So yes, back to you and back to you. Thank you.
Iman checking in. All right, we're good.
All right, we're back.
But by the end of its opening weekend, The Marvels had limped to just $46.1 million domestically. That's less than the Incredible Hulk made in 2008, before Iron Man ever formed the Avengers. A 78% drop in its second weekend made things even worse. And by December, Disney stopped reporting box office numbers altogether. But how did we get here? You'd think that the MCU's big cosmic team-up of the year, starring not one, not two, but three superpowered women, would be a sure bet. Captain Marvel, the billion-dollar box office heavyweight, Monica Rambeau, fresh off WandaVision, and Kamala Khan, the Disney Plus darling with the fandom of 1,000 Tumblr gifts. It's basically Avengers Light with girl power, teleportation, chaos, and a cat that can eat people. It should have been fun. It should have been weird. It should have worked. Should have. Instead, it became one of the most expensive flops in Marvel history. So what happened? Flashback to 2019. Captain Marvel had just crossed the billion-dollar mark. Brie Larson's Carol Danvers became a household name. The post-credits scene even tied her into Avengers Endgame, and Marvel execs saw dollar signs. But instead of a direct sequel, they gambled on a bigger combo. This wasn't just another hero flick, it was supposed to be the future. Meanwhile, Marvel was expanding on Disney+. WandaVision became a cultural moment, especially among younger fans. In 2022, Ms. Marvel premiered to modest viewership but a huge cultural impact. Kamala Khan wasn't just a hero, she was a new kind of hero. Brown, Muslim, goofy, endearing, and very online. By 2020, The Marvels was officially greenlit. Nia DaCosta was tapped to direct. Her horror re-imaging Candyman had just landed, and she promised something wacky, silly, and cosmic. At just 30, she became the youngest director in MCU history. DaCosta pitched a vision inspired by Ryan Coogler's grounding of Black Panther and James Gunn's offbeat ensemble work in Guardians. DaCosta tapped Kara Brower to design the inside of Carol's starship, not just as a set piece, but as a psychological whole. Something to show who Carol is when she's not punching Thanos. The Saber Station, where much of the story unfolds, was modeled on real-life orbital physics, flickering city lights, ISS level scale, and a sci-fi base grounded in real Earth-space proportions. Filming kicked off on July 26, 2021, across Pinewood and Longcross Studios.
Yoink. You ready?
With shoots featuring heavy blue screen deserts, gravity-defying wirework, and IMAX-calibrated action. This was Marvel's next big bet. But by early 2022, the warning signs were already visible. First, DaCosta allegedly left post-production early to start work on another film. In interviews, she admitted she wasn't even in the same room as Kevin Feige most of the time. Meanwhile, VFX houses struggled under Marvel's notorious last-minute revision culture. Entire sequences were reshaped. Animators spoke anonymously to the press describing endless revisions and unclear creative direction. One VFX worker noted, "We didn't even know what the final cut was supposed to look like." Meanwhile, fans were confused. Trailers got over 300,000 dislikes, partly driven by targeted backlash against Brie Larson and Iman Vellani. Box office tracking crashed. Pre-sales lagged far behind Guardians 3, and mainstream audiences didn't know what the film was about. Was it a sequel, a team-up, a musical? Slowly and gradually, it turned into long blue screen shoot days, wire harness choreography, IMAX sequences, and a schedule that only ballooned. Marvel skipped San Diego Comic-Con's usual Hall H showcase. They delayed trailers. The film's original release date, July 2022, got delayed, then delayed again. By the time it finally dropped in November 2023, the production budget had reportedly soared past $370 million, with reshoots, VFX, and overhead all piled in. Marvel was already in a slump post-Quantumania, but the Marvels had another problem: the 2023 SAG-AFTRA strike. It ended one day before the movie's release, which meant no press tour, no cast promo, no Brie Larson, no Iman Vellani, no Teyonah Parris hyping up their interdimensional chaos. Marvel scrambled. DaCosta had to do it all solo: talk shows, podcast interviews, red carpets. Marvel staged an impressive display with Goose projected onto the Las Vegas Sphere from September to November in a visually viral moment. Fans were left wondering, what is this movie actually about? Because without the cast, it just didn't hit. While DaCosta did give thoughtful answers, the lack of star power was glaring. Marvel built an entire movie around three women finding sisterhood across space and time, and then never showed them together. The Marvels dropped on November 10th, 2023. Critics were mixed. Some praised its energy and Vellani's performance. Others slammed the villain, the rushed plot, and the tonal whiplash. IGN called it a chaotic montage with emotional moments that don't land. Social media was worse. Worst MCU villain so far. I don't even know what happened in Act 3. Why does this feel like fanfiction with a $250 million budget? Opening weekend numbers confirm the worst. $46.1 million domestically, a franchise low. Week 2, down 78%, one of the steepest drops in Marvel history. International numbers were soft. Disney stopped reporting box office stats by week 4. Final tally, $84.5 million US, $206 million global. Budget in marketing, estimated at more than $270 million. Estimated loss, $237 million. You know how every Marvel phase used to end with a bang? Not this time. This wasn't just a box office blip. It was a system failure. And the shockwaves hit everything, from Disney execs to your favorite fan theories. Because, you see, there was a time Marvel thought Disney Plus was their Infinity Gauntlet. We got WandaVision, Loki, Moon King, Ms. Marvel, and like 14 other shows you either never started or forgot midway. But the Marvels exposed the real problem. Too much content, not enough care. You had to watch Ms. Marvel to get Kamala. You needed WandaVision to understand Monica. Lesson learned, the casual viewer doesn't want to be a part-time MCU employee. The aftermath? Marvel cut back. Kevin Feige confirmed fewer shows per year. No more triple releases in 1 month. Shows like Echo were dropped all at once instead of week by week. The quantity era is over, thankfully. Because, you see, there was a time when the Marvel logo alone meant packed theaters and billion-dollar wins. But then, the Marvels, Quantumania, and Secret Invasion landed back-to-back, and proved even the most loyal fans have limits. The aftermath hit like a ripple through the entire MCU. Blade was delayed again. Daredevil Born Again got scrapped mid-production and rebooted from the ground up. And the Kang Dynasty? Well, we all saw that unravel in real time. Jonathan Majors' legal troubles didn't just take down a villain. They cracked Marvel's entire multi-phase blueprint. Kang was supposed to be the guy, and now he might be no one. Behind the scenes, Kevin Feige saw it too. The formula was breaking. Audiences weren't showing up for interconnected charts anymore. They wanted connection. emotion, moments. So after the Marvels bombed, Feige reportedly hit the brakes. No more rushing. He paused new greenlights, ordered rewrites across Phase 6, brought in seasoned creatives, and laid down a new mandate. Quality, not quantity. And you can already feel the shift. Deadpool and Wolverine isn't homework. It's an event. One movie, two icons, R-rated chaos. A story that demands nothing except that you show up and have fun. But here's the thing. Fans noticed this pivot because of the Marvels. YouTube reviews, TikTok breakdowns, Reddit threads. They all landed on the same truth. The Marvels wasn't a terrible idea. It was rushed, underwritten, dropped into theaters without support, buried under layers of required viewing and forgotten threads. And yet, it had heart. Kamala Khan's wide-eyed joy, Monica Rambeau's quiet ache, Carol Danvers lost in the stars trying to remember what it feels like to care about people again. There were flickers of beauty. Kamala doodling the trio as stick figures in her notebook. Monica floating in the void, risking everything to save a collapsing universe. There was something there. It just never had time to breathe. It had to be funny, fast, franchise-ready, multiverse-friendly, and still wrap up in under 2 hours. It never had time to let you care. Because, you see, not all hope is lost. Because there came a moment in the movie that gave MCU fans whiplash. Kamala breaks into Kate Bishop's apartment and basically does the Iron Man 1 end credit scene, Nick Fury style. You're not the only young hero out there. She name drops Cassie Lang. She's clearly building a new squad. And for a fan base desperate for something fresh, this felt like one thread worth following. For a brief, flickering second, Marvel remembered what it was good at. Surprise, momentum, and legacy. Let's look at the pieces already on the board. Kate Bishop, introduced in Hawkeye, is already a fan favorite. Cassie Lang was recast and aged up for Quantumania, clearly being positioned for something bigger. Kamala Khan became the breakout star of Ms. Marvel and the Marvels. We saw the Patriot teased in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, while Wiccan and Speed made their debut in WandaVision. And then there's Ironheart, who got her start in Wakanda Forever. It's like Kevin Feige has been soft-launching this team for the past 4 years.
Should we talk about that? Because I think that's probably one of the greatest decisions in the history of Hollywood.
But the Marvels marked the first time someone in-universe actually said the quiet part out loud. And maybe that's the point. Gen Z cares more about identity, representation, and reliability than perfect continuity or cosmic lore. So maybe a new scrappy team of imperfect, charming, not yet world-weary heroes is exactly the reset button Marvel needs. In the end, the Marvels may not be remembered for its villain or its story, or its visuals. But it might be remembered for two things: showing Marvel what not to do ever again, and giving us Kamala Khan, the new heart of a universe trying to find its soul again. So yeah, the Marvels failed, but if it ends up giving us the Young Avengers, it might have been the L that saved the franchise. And the most ironic part, the Marvels isn't even the worst MCU film. It clearly was a mess. A costly, chaotic, overstuffed, underdelivered mess. It broke records in the worst ways, and nearly broke the MCU along with it. But here's the twist. Maybe it needed to, because failure forced Marvel to look in the mirror. It slowed the machine. It killed off the content bloat. It reminded Feige and co. that the MCU isn't about intergalactic MacGuffins or multiversal blueprints. It's about people we care about doing impossible things for the right reasons. And Kamala Khan, she might be the spark that reignites the whole thing. The Marvels didn't fly, but maybe it didn't need to. What it did was plant something, small, Human. A new generation of heroes not obsessed with legacy, but hungry to make one. Less tangled in timelines, more rooted in heart. Yes, the movie flopped, but maybe it wasn't the end. Maybe it was the necessary reset. If you like this, you might also like the Netflix stories popping up on your screen right now.